Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Renubenz. I hope you are doing great. In this video, we are going to start learning object-oriented programming, also known as OOP, in Python. If you already know Python basics like variables, loops, functions, and lists, then you are ready to learn OOP. Don't worry if you're a beginner. I will explain every concept in simple English with easy examples. By the end of this video, you will understand how classes and objects work and why OOP is one of the most important programming concepts. So, let's get started. Before writing any code, let's understand what OOP is. OOP stands for Object-Oriented Programming. It is a programming method where we organize our code using classes and objects. Instead of writing everything inside functions, we group related data and related functions together. This makes the code easy to read, easy to manage, easy to reuse, and easy to maintain. Nowadays, most large Python applications use OOP. Let's understand this with a simple example. Imagine a school. Every student has a name, age, and course. Every student can also perform actions like study, attend class, and write exams. Instead of creating separate variables and functions for every student, we create one student class. Then, every student becomes an object created from that class. Think about a house. An architect first creates a blueprint. Using that blueprint, many houses can be built. Similarly, a class is the blueprint. An object is the real thing created from that blueprint. Let's first look at procedural programming. In procedural programming, we store data separately. For example, name equals John, age equals 25. Then we create a function to display the student. Finally, we call the function. This is perfectly fine for small programs, but imagine managing thousands of students. The code becomes difficult to organize. OOP solves this problem by keeping data and functions together. Now let's create our first class. The keyword class tells Python that we are creating a class. Student is the name of the class. The word pass means the class is empty for now. Next, we create two objects. Student1 equals student. Student2 equals student. Here, student creates a new object. Since we call it twice, Python creates two different student objects. If we print both objects, Python displays different memory addresses. This tells us that each object is unique. Now let's learn one of the most important methods in OOP, the constructor. In Python, the constructor is called init. Whenever we create an object, Python automatically calls this method. You don't need to call it yourself. The constructor receives two values, name and age. These values are stored inside the object using self.name and self.age. Next, we create an object. Student equals student John, 25. Python automatically runs the constructor. Now the object stores name John, age 25. If we print student.name, the output is John. If we print student.age, the output is 25. Many beginners find the word self confusing. Actually, it is very simple. Self refers to the current object. Let's say we create student1 equals student John, 25. Here, self represents student1. Now we create another object. Student2 equals student Alice, 22. Now self represents student2. So every object has its own self. You never pass self manually. Python automatically passes it whenever an object calls a method. Now let's learn about instance variables. Instance variables belong to individual objects. Let's see the car example. We create a car class with brand and price. Now we create two cars. Car 1 stores Toyota and Trenta 000. Car 2 stores BMW and 60,000. Each object has its own values. Changing one object does not affect the other. That is why they are called instance variables. Now let's learn instance methods. Instance methods work with a specific object. The display method prints the name stored in the object. Now we call it using student.display. Python automatically sends the student object into self. So self.name becomes student.name. The output is student name John. This is how instance methods work. Sometimes, some information is common for every object. For example, every student studies in the same college. Instead of storing the college name inside every object, we store it only once as a class variable. Notice that it is written outside the constructor. That makes it a class variable. Now, every student object shares this one variable. If we create 1,000 students, all of them use the same college variable. This saves memory and keeps the code clean. Now let's learn class methods. Class methods work with the class instead of an object. They use CLS instead of self. The @class method decorator tells Python that this method belongs to the class. Now, we call it using student.change, call XYZ college. Instead of changing one student, it changes the class variable. Now, every student object automatically uses XYZ college. This is useful when one value should be shared by every object. The last topic for today is static methods. A static method belongs to the class, but it does not use object data or class data. It is simply a helper function. The method only adds two numbers. It doesn't use self. It doesn't use CLS. Now we call it using math.add1020. The output is 30. Notice we did not create a math object. We called the method directly using the class name. Static methods are useful for utility functions like addition, conversion, validation, and calculations. Today we learn what is object-oriented programming, the difference between procedural programming and OOP classes, objects, constructor, self, instance variables, instance methods, class variables, class methods, and static methods. These concepts are the foundation of object-oriented programming in Python. Congratulations! You have completed part 1 of the Python OOP course. In the next video, we will learn encapsulation, public protected and private variables, getters and setters, property decorator, single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, hybrid inheritance, and the super function. These are important concepts that are used in real-world Python applications. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to Renubenz. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Happy coding!